"You're not welcome in our five-star hotel." That was the whole text. No punctuation, no signature. Just those 8 words, sitting at the top of my screen like a slap to the face. I was standing in the control room of the Back Bay Hartwell, watching the ballroom cameras. My sister's wedding weekend had just kicked off. The orchids were in place, the champagne was flowing, and my staff had just texted me that the welcome suite was fully stocked with the bourbon my dad liked. I should have been proud. Instead, I read that message and laughed. Because the real joke, I own that 5-star hotel. My name's Brandon Hartwell. I'm 33. I live between Manhattan and Singapore, but I grew up in Newton, Massachusetts, about 20 minutes from where that text came through. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. I had given my parents and extended family the full platinum treatment. Comped rooms, black car service, private concierge, the works, all under Jessica's name, so they wouldn't realize who was footing the bill. I even let them think the Hartwell was just some fancy boutique chain her planner booked. They'd never cared enough about my world to connect the dots anyway, until now. Apparently, my dad must have suspected something. Maybe he recognized the logo above the bar, or heard my name mentioned. Probably wandered through the lobby and saw my portrait in the executive gallery. And instead of feeling proud or even surprised, he sent that. "You're not welcome in our 5-star hotel." I didn't respond. I just swiped left, flagged the message, and turned to the head of security. "Downgrade all VIP access tied to Jessica's wedding block," I said. "No more private elevators. Cancel the spa appointments, bottle service, everything. Let it expire at midnight." The guy looked at me, confused. "You sure?" "Dead sure." And then I smiled. Not the warm kind, the kind you give right before you pull a trigger. It's funny. 15 hotels across 3 continents, 5,000 employees, private planes, custom suits, a Paris flagship under construction. And still, I was out here trying to impress the same people who once told me hospitality was for servants. "Build something real," my dad used to say, "not some job that involves fluffing pillows." Guess the pillows are fluffy enough now to keep him out. I turned back to the monitors. There they were, drinking champagne they didn't pay for, in a hotel they swore I'd never be good enough to run. And they still had no clue the ballroom they were standing in was mine. I didn't wake up one day dreaming about hotels. I was obsessed with them before I could even spell hospitality. Other kids brought home postcards from Disney or ski resorts. I brought back room service menus, key cards, and folded robe tags. I memorized floor plans. I'd walk the halls alone just to figure out how maid service moved through the building. I was 9 years old, walking through a Four Seasons in New York, dragging my roller bag like I owned the place. Malcolm, my father, noticed and hated it. "Quit staring at the bellman," he snapped once. "You want to end up parking cars for a living?" That was his idea of a warning. My mom, Linda, didn't even pretend. "You can do whatever you want," she used to say, "as long as it's impressive." And she meant Newton impressive. Ivy League, white collar, legacy level. Our house was packed with awards and Harvard mugs, most of them Malcolm's. If something didn't make you look good at a dinner party, it wasn't worth doing. Still, I kept collecting. My closet was filled with leather guest directories and branded slippers. I even built a fake hotel front desk in our garage, made my little sister play check-in with me. Jessica thought it was fun. Malcolm rolled his eyes every time he walked by. "Get a real hobby," he said. "You're too smart for this junk." But I was smart because of it. Hotels taught me systems, service, strategy. At school, I crushed everything they put in front of me: valedictorian, student council president, 4 AP classes by junior year. Everyone else assumed I was on the Harvard train. So did my parents. That was the only way they talked about college. When, not if, I'd get into Harvard, pre-law, like Malcolm. Law school, then some firm in Boston or DC. They weren't preparing me for options. They were setting a track and daring me to step off it. I stepped off. Senior year, while they were pushing me to polish my Harvard essay, I applied to Cornell's School of Hotel Administration behind their backs. Sent it from the public library so it wouldn't show up in the Wi-Fi history. I still remember the day that envelope came. Thick, heavy, accepted with honors. I ran up to my room, closed the door, and just held it for a minute, like it proved I wasn't crazy, like someone out there saw what I was trying to build. I waited until after dinner to tell them. Sat there at the table, shaking but pretending to be calm. Jessica was eating chicken parm. Mom was scrolling through real estate listings. I got into Cornell, I said. Hotel administration. The room went dead quiet. Malcolm looked at me like I'd said I was dropping out to join the circus. You're kidding, he said flatly. You applied to that behind our backs? Linda chimed in without looking up. Cornell's fine, I guess, but hospitality? Seriously? I want to run hotels, I said. Real ones, not just work in them, own them. That's when Malcolm dropped the hammer. You've got one choice. You go to Harvard, pre-law, and I'll cover it. Or you go play concierge somewhere and figure it out yourself. I stared at him. He wasn't bluffing. Jessica looked up from her plate, confused. Isn't Cornell still, like, Ivy League? Not the part he got into, Malcolm muttered. I stood up, pushed my chair in. Thanks, I said. I'll figure it out. And I walked out. No fight, no scene. Just walked out of the room and out of their plan. That night, I started Googling scholarships, part-time jobs, anything. I had no idea how I'd pull it off, but I wasn't giving them the satisfaction of watching me crawl back. They thought it was a phase. I'd be home by Christmas. But I wasn't. And every time I swiped a guest card or fixed a lobby lamp or memorized a new wine list, I remembered that dinner table, that ultimatum. I worked like a machine all through college. Front desk at a business hotel near campus from 4 p.m. to midnight. Valet on weekends at a fancy boutique spot downtown. And when I had a few hours free, I'd tutor French to bored rich kids who never did the homework. I was 19, juggling 3 jobs and barely keeping up with school. But every time I stepped behind a check-in counter or parked a Mercedes, it reminded me why I'd walked out of that house in Newton. No help, no loans from Dad, just cheap shoes, bad sleep, and whatever leftovers the kitchen tossed my way after closing. 4 years later, diploma in hand, I packed a duffel bag and moved to New York. I landed an entry-level operations role at the Ashton Midtown. Small place, nothing glamorous. $28,000 a year, no benefits, and a shared bedroom in a shoebox queen's apartment that smelled like microwave noodles and mildew. And I loved it. I signed up for every crap shift no one else wanted. Graveyard, holidays, double bookings, flooded toilets, tech outages. I was the first to jump in. I watched everything. How the linens came in, how maintenance logged reports, what made guests return or complain. I asked questions nobody else bothered with. The staff thought I was weird. The manager said I was too eager, but I didn't care. I was learning. Then came the guest meltdown. One night, this guy storms in, red-faced and screaming about a canceled suite reservation. We were oversold. No suites left. I kept my tone steady, nodded, offered him a comp dinner, transferred him to the best available room we had, and made sure his luggage was waiting there before he stepped off the elevator. What I didn't know was that Catherine, the regional director, was standing by the elevator bank the whole time, watching. She pulled me aside later that night. You ever thought about management training? That was it. One line, but it cracked something open. Catherine started meeting with me every week, walking me through ops strategy, P&L reports, hiring plans. She said I had what most people in this business didn't. Ownership mindset. I stayed late, studied the systems, shadowed department heads. Then, one weekend, our internal system crashed right before a wedding party checked in. Total chaos. Phones down, records gone, staff panicking. I printed out the guest list from my personal email, handwritten notes from memory, and started checking people in manually while coordinating backup room keys from engineering. By Monday, the GM called me into the office. You just saved this hotel's ass, he said. You want to be our new assistant manager? I didn't even blink. Yes. First thing I did, called my dad. I hadn't talked to him in months. Hey, I said. Just wanted you to know I got promoted. He paused. To what? Assistant manager? It's a big step. He laughed. Actually laughed. Still playing hotel clerk, huh? I didn't say a word. Just hung up, walked straight to the supply closet, shut the door, and cried into a box of paper towels. A few months later, Catherine called me into her office, sat me down, and said, "We're sending you to Chicago. Hotel's bleeding money. Think you can fix it?" I didn't even ask how bad it was. Just packed my bags and got on a plane. The property was a mess. Outdated rooms, angry reviews. a GM who treated staff like trash, and food that tasted like microwaved cardboard. I fired half the leadership team the first week, launched a local marketing blitz, redesigned the restaurant menu with a young chef I found on Instagram, and personally trained new front desk staff on service recovery techniques. 6 months later, bookings were up 60%. We had waitlists on weekends. The CEO of Pinnacle flew in to meet me. He was slick, old school, straight to the point. "You want to join our exec fast track program?" I was 25, youngest person they'd ever invited, said yes on the spot. Back home, I called my mom to share the news. She didn't ask what the program was, just said, "Are you still working nights? That's not healthy." I hung up before I lost my temper. While climbing the ranks at Pinnacle, I was quietly building my own thing behind the scenes. Business plans, profit models, market research, nights spent running numbers in Excel until my eyes burned. I wanted something of my own, not a promotion, not a title, ownership. Catherine saw it. She introduced me to a couple of private equity guys she trusted. I pitched them over lukewarm coffee in a windowless conference room in Jersey. First meeting bombed, second one was better. By the third, I had my numbers locked, my tone sharp, and my eyes on the prize. They signed on. At 27, I bought a dying hotel in downtown Providence. Paint peeling, bookings flatlined, reviews so bad I didn't even show them to my assistant. It was a huge risk. I took it anyway. Ripped out the carpet, changed the name, wrote the training manual myself, trained every housekeeper, bellhop, and front desk agent personally. 11 months later, we broke even. That's when things started moving fast. I picked up a second property in Raleigh, a third in Austin, branded them under Hartwell Properties. I was no longer just a manager in a corporate chain. I was the founder of something. My face was in hotel magazines. I started getting calls from banks, designers, even universities asking me to speak. The work was insane. 18-hour days, legal headaches, supplier drama. But for the first time, it was all mine. We built fast, but we built right. Catherine came on full-time as my COO. I hired staff from all over the country, former bartenders, receptionists, GMs who got screwed over by big brands. We didn't wear suits unless we had to. We knew every name on the payroll. When the Rising Star Award came in, big industry event in Miami, black tie, camera crews. I bought a new tux and told my parents 3 weeks in advance. Jessica texted me the day of, "Wish I could be there, so proud of you." My parents didn't respond. Later that night, I saw their pictures on Facebook. Some catered dinner at home for Jessica's real estate license. Silver platters, floral arrangements, the whole thing. Not even a mention that I was up for something. I stood at the award podium that night, smiling for the cameras, holding the trophy. The lights were bright. People were clapping. My name was in the press. But I didn't see them in the crowd. I never did. Still, I kept building. Because while they were busy hosting cocktail parties, I was quietly turning into someone they couldn't ignore forever. I was 30 when I bought out Pinnacle Hotels, the same company that once gave me a name tag and told me to smile more at check-in. The press called it the hospitality coup of the decade. I called it overdue. 15 hotels, 3,000 employees, an executive team handpicked by me. Half of them people corporate chains never took seriously. Catherine was my COO, of course. She'd been with me since the trenches. We moved fast. Bought properties in San Francisco, Vancouver, Madrid. We opened a glass and steel tower in Singapore that got featured in Architectural Digest. I was on magazine covers, podcasts, interviews with Forbes. People asked for my opinion like I was some kind of visionary. Back in Newton, I was still the guy who worked in hotels. Mom once told a neighbor I was in customer service or something. My dad referred to me as the one who didn't go to law school, like that was my whole resume. Then came David, my younger brother, clean-cut, boring, did everything by the book. Harvard undergrad, Columbia Law, joined Dad's firm, and coasted his way to partner by 31. I found out through Instagram. One of my cousins posted a video from a private dining room downtown. Champagne toast, cake with the firm's logo on it. The caption said, "Proud of you, David. The Wellington legacy continues." I watched it alone in my office. No invite, no heads up. Just another reminder that my work didn't count unless it came with a courtroom and a country club. It hurt. Not because I needed their praise, I didn't, but because after everything I'd built, they still didn't see it. So I channeled it, like I always did. Next move, Boston. I'd been eyeing a historic hotel in Back Bay for years, a grand old building with columns and crystal chandeliers, the same one my dad once scoffed at when I mentioned it. "You'll never run a place like that," he said. "Takes real pedigree." I bought it outright. No partners, no debt, full gut renovation, top to bottom, new suites, new kitchen, custom scent diffusers in the lobby. I poured my whole soul into that project. It wasn't just another property. It was a middle finger in marble and brass. A month before the grand opening, I got a text from Jessica. "Getting married. Mom and Dad are booking the Hartwell in Boston. Can't wait." She had no idea. They didn't know I owned it. Didn't realize the Hartwell logo came from my last name. They just assumed it was another trendy luxury brand. I stared at the message for a while. They were about to throw a 5-star wedding at the same hotel they once told me I'd never be good enough to manage, and they'd booked it like regular guests, not knowing their son owned the damn place. I thought about telling Jessica, thought about making it a big reveal, maybe showing up in a suit, giving a toast. But the truth is, I wanted to see how they acted when they thought I wasn't watching. I wanted to know if they treated the people around them like they treated me. So I said nothing, just replied, "Sounds amazing. Let me know if you need help planning." Then I turned to my staff. "Put a red star next to the Wellington block," I said. "I want eyes on everything. Not for revenge, for clarity." "Not a word," I told the staff. "Don't mention me, don't hint. Let them think they're just here for a wedding." Everyone nodded. Even Catherine kept quiet. I had eyes on everything, camera feeds, guest notes, service reports. I didn't want revenge. I wanted the truth. I wanted to see who they really were when they thought I was no one. From the second they walked through the front doors, it started, my mom wrinkled her nose at the lobby orchids. "Too bold," she said to the concierge. "Do you not have anything classic?" My dad scowled at the ballroom. "It's smaller than it looked online. We were told this was premier tier." They snapped their fingers for water, waved off staff without eye contact, and demanded preferred guest perks they hadn't earned. I approved every request. Extra floral budget? Fine. Caviar tasting? Fine. An extra night free for Linda's cousin who booked last minute? Sure, I greenlit it all, quietly, anonymously. Because Jessica deserved a perfect wedding, and somehow, through all of it, she stayed kind. She thanked the planners, smiled through chaos, pulled a manager aside just to say, "You've made this so easy for us." At one point, she texted me a photo of the rehearsal bouquet and said, "Thank you again for helping with this. I know they're a lot." She still didn't know, and I wasn't going to be the one to ruin it. Until the rehearsal dinner. It was a private wine-paired menu in the rooftop lounge. I was in the background, pretending to blend in with the bridal party. Not as the owner, just Uncle B, bridesmaid coordinator, and last-minute problem solver. Then, Malcolm lost it. The sommelier, couldn't have been older than 22, brought out a bottle that was 3 degrees too warm. Not bad, not wrong, just not perfect. My dad pushed his glass away. "This is unacceptable. Who trained you?" The poor kid stammered something about cellar fluctuations. Malcolm leaned in. "If you knew anything about hospitality, you wouldn't make excuses. Get me someone competent." I stood up and stepped between them. "I'll handle it." Malcolm didn't even look at me, just waved me off. "You don't know anything about real hospitality." That line, it landed like a slap. I didn't say a word, just pulled out my phone, texted the bar team, and had them send up a $2,000 vintage Bordeaux from my private collection. The good stuff. The kind of bottle that usually needed a client's signature. It was poured, compliments were passed around, and no one thanked me. Not my father, not my mother, not anyone. Later that night, I sat in the control room, scrolling through security footage. There they were, my family, drinking my wine in my hotel, laughing like I didn't exist. Jessica's fiancé made a toast. To love, to family, to all the people who made this weekend happen. My name didn't come up. I leaned back, watching the monitors flick through ballroom, lobby, lounge, hallway. This wasn't about being seen anymore. I'd stopped needing that. But watching them, all comfortable and proud in a place they thought was theirs, while I sat behind the glass like a ghost, that stung in a way I didn't expect. I built that place, every inch of it, and I still didn't get a seat at the table. At 6:42 a.m., my phone blew up. "Your father is in the ballroom moving tables." Mother of the bride is demanding a new floral setup. VIP guests threatened to fire the planner. That last one was from Catherine. I didn't even need to ask. I knew it was them. I walked straight to the presidential suite and told the front desk, "Get my exec team up here, now." 10 minutes later, my managers filed in. Catherine, Jerome from security, Sophia from events. They looked at me like I was about to launch a missile. I was. "Clear the suite, cancel room access for everyone except staff, and bring Malcolm and Linda Wellington up here, quietly." They didn't hesitate. 20 minutes later, I was standing by the window when the door opened and my parents walked in like they owned the place. "What's going on?" my dad asked. "Is this about the lilies?" my mom added. "They're not appropriate for morning light." I turned to face them, calm, sharp, ready. "This is my hotel," I said. "I own it. I built the company. The Hartwell brand, that's mine." My dad laughed like I'd told a bad joke. My mom blinked, caught off guard. "I've been watching you treat my staff like garbage for 3 days," I continued. "You've insulted my team, berated my managers, demanded things you didn't pay for, and acted like royalty in a place you didn't even know belonged to me." "You've been spying on us?" my dad snapped. "No," I said. "I've been protecting my people." He stepped forward, voice rising. "This is deceitful. You let us stay here without saying a word?" "You wouldn't have come if you knew," I shot back. "Let's not pretend." My mom looked around the room like she suddenly realized it was unfamiliar. "Brandon," she started, but didn't finish. That's when Jessica walked in, hair in curlers, dress bag over one arm, totally unaware. "What's going on?" she asked. "They said there was an issue with the suite." She stopped when she saw our faces. "Jess," I said, "I didn't tell you earlier because I didn't want to hijack your wedding. But you should know, this hotel, all of it, it's mine." Her mouth opened, then closed again. "What?" "I built Hartwell. I own it. Every floor, every room, every stem of those lilies." She looked stunned. "Wait, you paid for all this?" I nodded once. "You never said anything." I looked at our parents. "Because they never cared to ask." And then I laid it out. "You skipped my graduation, refused to help me through college, laughed when I got promoted, mocked my first hotel, ignored every single win I ever had. But sure, let's act like I'm the problem." Malcolm scoffed. "You should have told us. We're family." I stared him down. "You never acted like it." My phone buzzed, his old message still sitting at the top of the thread. I turned the screen toward him, smiled coldly, and tapped a button. "VIP access revoked, effective immediately. You're regular guests now." "Brandon," Jessica said softly, "it's my wedding day." "And it's still yours," I said. "This changes nothing for you." She looked at our parents, then back at me. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything." I walked out of the suite, left them standing in their designer clothes and fragile egos. I didn't attend the ceremony, didn't sit at the family table. I watched the whole thing from the control room, silent, alone, eyes on every screen. Jessica looked beautiful. The ballroom glowed, and somewhere in the crowd, my parents sat like honored guests. Guests, nothing more. By the next morning, the internet had caught up. Someone leaked footage, just a clip. Low quality, but clear enough. My parents arguing in the hallway, my voice in the background. And then the headline, "Wedding Drama at the Hartwell. Owner Confronts Family Over Entitlement." It was everywhere within hours. Travel blogs, TikTok drama accounts, even a hospitality trade mag ran a piece called "When the Owner Pulls the Plug." I didn't comment. I buried myself in expansion meetings and construction calls. We were opening in Dubai and Tokyo next. I pushed the deadlines up. I was back on the grind. 14-hour days, no breaks, no reflection, just work. Then Catherine showed up, no appointment, no call, just walked into my office and closed the door behind her. "You've spent your entire life trying to earn the approval of people who decided a long time ago not to give it," she said. I didn't respond. "You built a damn empire, Brandon," she said, "and the first thing you did after pulling your parents' mask off was hide." That's when I cracked. I didn't mean to, but something just gave out. I slammed my fist against the edge of the desk and said, "I did everything right, everything. I worked my ass off, and it still wasn't enough." Catherine didn't flinch, just sat down and said, "Then stop trying to fix them. Fix you." I started therapy the next week, quietly. No one knew. It didn't fix anything overnight, but it gave me space to look at what I'd been carrying. Jessica reached out first, sent a photo from her honeymoon with a message that said, "You made that day beautiful, no matter what happened. I love you." We started texting more, then a phone call, then lunch. She was furious with our parents. "I'm not letting them shape my kid the way they shaped us," she said. She was pregnant. I didn't even know. That's when it started to shift. Small stuff first. A short dinner with my mom. No tension, just silence and salmon. A stiff coffee with my dad. We talked about neutral things. The economy, weather, real estate. Awkward but civil. No apologies, no warmth. But Jessica stuck close. Always texting, checking in, sending baby updates. It helped. I stopped trying to rewrite the past. Started focusing on who I wanted to be moving forward. I still worked hard, but I started letting the weight fall off, one brick at a time. After the coffee with my dad, I walked straight into a board meeting and pitched the scholarship fund. No essays, no GPAs, I told the team. Just one requirement: your family doesn't support your dream. We called it the Breakaway Grant, $15,000 per recipient. Mentorship included. I didn't want to fund prodigies. I wanted to fund kids like I was, the ones told to fall in line. Applications came in fast. Hotel hopefuls, startup founders, welders, bakers, even a kid who wanted to open a roller rink in Nebraska. I approved his on the spot. For once, it wasn't about ROI. Meanwhile, Catherine kept pushing me to slow down. "You built enough, Brandon," she said. "Now figure out how to live in it." So I did something that actually scared me. I went on a date. Well, kind of a redate. Allison, design consultant from our Singapore hotel. She'd picked the teak paneling for the rooftop bar and told me, over scotch one night, that I needed therapy or a dog. We'd emailed for a while, then nothing. I reached out again. She said yes. We met in New York, grabbed lunch, talked like no time had passed. She still challenged me, still didn't care about money or title. She made me feel normal. I hadn't felt that in a long time. Then Jessica called. "It's a girl," she said, "due in September." That's when it hit me. I was going to be an uncle. Uncle B. It started as a joke. Then it stuck. I sent her baby gear and Hartwell gift bags. Tiny robes, monogrammed bibs, a plush room service menu that made her laugh so hard she cried. When the baby shower rolled around, she wanted it at the Boston Hartwell. I cleared the calendar, reserved the entire rooftop. No drama, no secrets this time. My parents came. They dressed like they were going to a charity gala, but they showed up. My mom greeted staff with polite nods instead of snide comments. My dad even said, "The service here is excellent," to one of the servers. He didn't know the server used to be a dishwasher I promoted last year. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. After the party, Jessica hugged me and said, "You've changed." I shrugged. "So have you." She smiled. "Let's keep it that way." And for once, I believed we actually might. The rooftop bar was packed. Champagne towers, velvet seating, spotlights bouncing off the glass ceiling like we were inside a jewel box. Paris had delivered. The Hartwell Royale, my crown jewel, looked flawless. CEOs, developers, influencers, all of them raising glasses to me. Visionary, game changer, empire builder. I heard it all. I shook hands, gave a short speech, smiled for the cameras. But my mind wasn't in the ballroom. My phone buzzed mid-toast. Jessica. She'd sent a photo of her daughter wearing a tiny onesie that read, "Future CEO." I stepped aside, phone still in hand, and let it hit me. The kid had my eyes. I wiped my face fast before anyone saw. I was still looking at the photo when a text from Malcolm came through. "You've built something remarkable. We're proud." No punctuation, but the words landed. I stared at it for a second, thumb hovering, then typed, "Thanks, Dad." Nothing more, nothing extra. It was enough. Later that night, I went back to the penthouse suite. Allison had kicked off her heels and was pouring 2 glasses of wine. "You missed the last round of speeches," she said. "I've heard enough speeches to last 10 lifetimes," I said. We stepped out onto the balcony. The Eiffel Tower lit up the skyline like it was performing just for us. Allison leaned against the railing, glass in hand. "Did you ever think it would turn out like this?" she asked. I watched the lights shimmer, felt the weight of everything I'd built. Not on my back this time, but under my feet. No, I said, but I stopped needing it to prove anything a long time ago. She nodded, said nothing. She didn't have to. For the first time in my life, I wasn't chasing anyone. I wasn't explaining myself. I was just here. And that was enough too. The lights blinked on the tower again, brighter now, reflecting in the glass doors behind us. My name was on buildings, on key cards, on contracts in 5 languages. But the only thing that mattered in that moment was the stillness, the peace, and the fact that finally every inch of this life, every hotel, every mistake, every win was mine.